Good morning, Teresa. How are you? Thanks for popping in. Hi, Vesta. Good morning. How is everybody doing today? I hope your day has started off beautifully. Hi, Nancy. My wonky sister in paper crafts. You're going to love this block today, Nancy. Hi, Sue. Hi, Dixie. Dixie, where are you watching from? Hi, Janice. And, okay. Hi, Sharon. Good morning. Hi, Carol. I hope everybody's day is starting off so good. The sun is shining here. It was chilly. It was in the 50s this morning. Hi, Michaeline. Hi, Mindy. Yes, hello, everybody. Hi, Tony. Thank you for sharing. Hi, Paula. Oh, my goodness, so many. Hi, Marilyn. Got just a few things to talk about before we get started, and I got some surprise packages this week in the mail that I want to share with you. Hi, Sandy. Hi, Jean. Thank you for sharing. So Dixie's from Terre Haute. Oh, wow. Dixie, I grew up in the northeast corner of Indiana in a little town called Fremont. It's near Angola and Pokagon State Park. Hi, Pat. I went to all my schooling, except for like a half a year of kindergarten. All of my schooling was growing up right there in Fremont, Indiana. So welcome, everybody. If you're new, my name is Julie Heights, and I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Toledo, Ohio. Hi, Pat. How is South Dakota today? So again, just a few things to talk about. Stampin' Up! Started their week 2 of their weekly specials for the month of September. So go check that out on my website or Stampin' Up's website. Go to specials, shop specials, and then I think it's weekly specials. And you'll see the items that were added for week 2 that are discounted. Okay? And what was the other thing? Okay, so there was the weekly specials been updated. You know, for a brief period, like early this morning when I was on the website, all week 1 and week 2 were under the weekly special. And so I thought we were going to get at least maybe a day that they would keep them both up, but they overlapped just for a little bit. And, oh, sorry. I thought I saw something go by here that I wanted to address. I thought, you know, they would overlap for a little bit longer, but it just seems like, you know, if you timed it right, they were both there. So, hi, Sue. Sue, you lived in Toledo for over 40 years? No way. How long ago was it? We've been in Toledo 31 years. So, oh my goodness, we have that in common. That is awesome. Okay, so that was what I wanted to say about the weekly special. Oh, okay. Here's something. So this morning, I like to go on the demonstrator side of the website, see what items aren't available because of you know, they haven't got the inventory in yet. The Gnome bundle suite is not available at this time. And the Gnome dies and stamps are unavailable at this time. But guess what? We're using the Designer Series paper and it's in stock. So if you like this project and you like the paper that we're using today, you are you're in luck, because it's not like, you know, unavailable at the moment. So that'll be fun. The other thing I wanted to talk about was retreat. This is October 2023, not October 2022. So if you thought that you wouldn't be able to attend, it's next year. And we are half full. The inn will hold 25 of us. We're half full. And so you can reserve your spot by sending a $100 deposit, which is unfortunately non-refundable. But that's going to be open until the retreat is, quote, full. Okay? So if you read the flyer, just know that as long as there are openings, if you want to send in your deposit to hold your spot, you can do so until it is, you know, filled up at 25 participants. Okay? So I just wanted to share that with you. And I have something I want to show you about retreat, but we'll do that as I flip the camera around. So hold on. This is always mind-boggling to me. So let's get everything situated. I love seeing you have those great conversations with everyone while, oh, guess what? Something needs tightened here. There we go. Oh, it still needs tightened. Maybe there. And okay, so now we got to flip this around so that you're reading everything the right way. Just going to move the computer to the other side of the table. And we'll be ready to get started. Okay, so speaking of retreat, some of you might have seen this brochure. I showed it at the end of our barn quilt session where we put the barn quilt cards together at the end of August. But where we're staying, the inn that we're staying at in Ottawa County, Ohio, the little town is called Oak Harbor. They have a wonderful barn quilt trail. And that is one of the highlights of the retreat, is we're going to spend a morning and afternoon, and we're going to get in our cars, we're going to carpool, and we're going to go see as many barn quilts as we can on this trail. So what I wanted to show you was this map. I'm going to show you where we're at. And when you see how many barn quilts are around us, it's amazing. Okay. So if you can see this well, right here's the little town of Oak Harbor. Look at all of these barn quilts that are so close to us. So this is going to be a really fun part of the retreat. Now, for the retreat, you don't have to be a card maker. It is open to anyone who wants to get away from a Sunday evening to a Thursday morning and get away from it all, get the time to do what you love to do, and meet new people, create new friendships, and just have a really nice time. I have a committee that is going to spoil those who can attend. So it's going to be a lot of fun. But just look at all of those barns that have a barn quilt on them. So that is going to be fun. So I just wanted to show you this little brochure and show you how much fun that day is going to be when we get out and see all of these barn quilts. Okay. This PDF is in the files section in the community group Quilt Cards and More. If you go to files, you'll be able to find the fall retreat flyer right here so that you can look it over. It's $250 for the 4 days. That includes your meals. And again, we're going to do a card swap if you want to participate in that. We're going to have a card buffet where you can donate $1 per card that you want to do, and then that money is going to be donated to the local animal shelter there in Oak Harbor and Ottawa County. We're going to play games. We've got the barn quilt. We're going to have a pajama party, pizza night. It is going to be so much fun. So this beautiful property, there, if you go to the Inspiration in Bloom, the flyer has their website. Take the virtual tour. It is amazing. I've seen it in person myself, and it's just beautiful. And the fact that we're going to be there in the late part of October, the leaves are going to be changing, the air is going to be a little crisper, and it's just going to be gorgeous. So keep that in mind. And this isn't till 2023, not 2022. Okay? Speaking of barn quilts, this is the card kit for September. And you can still register for this card kit. It's $10. You get all the supplies you need to create these 2 barn quilts. And all I need is your email address and your mailing address so you can get a hold of me through Messenger. And give me that information. I'll make sure that you get an invoice. And yeah, we got sunflowers and pumpkins. And all of the colors coordinate with the Fall Designer Series paper that's in the new mini catalog. So if you want to put a quilt back on the back side of your card, these papers will coordinate with the colors. You can even add a little strip of Designer Series paper in the inside just to finish it off. And you will get the little die-cut vines and leaves for your pumpkins in your kit. Okay? So that's that. And now let's bring in what we're using today. So this is the card that we're going to be doing. It is a Z-fold. It's a fun fold. The quilt block in the background actually was inspired by chopping up 4 pieces of fabric, but we're going to use Designer Series paper, and then shuffling them and putting them back together. So it's a wonky angle. So Nancy, this is perfect for you and I. And by switching them out, you're going to get 4 different, your quilt blocks aren't going to look the same. And using the Gnome Designer Series paper, you know, when I ordered the Designer Series paper, I didn't order it for the gnomes. I ordered it for all of the different snowflakes. And I wanted the wintry blues and the wintry blue-greens. I am now really loving these gnomes. And when the stamps and dies are available again, I just might have to get them. Even though these images are big enough that fussy cutting them was a breeze. Okay, it was really fun to fussy cut. But I am, you know, eventually I'm going to run out of paper, and I would still like to be able to have maybe some gnomes in my die collection and my stamps. So here, this quilt block, there is no embossing on it whatsoever. It's just flat like the paper. And then this one, if I tilt it just right, can you see the snowflakes? This has a snowflake embossing to it. And then I had another embossing folder that had snowflakes. It's not as busy as the other one, but you can see that it was embossed, and it has like a little bit of stitching in it, or what mimics stitching. So that is that. And at the end, I'm going to show you another set that I made using the designer series paper that you can get if you're a hostess and your order is over $150. It's one of the hostess gifts that you can pick out. I'll show you that set when we're all done. Here is the gist of the quilt block. So we're going to be using 3 3/4 inch squares. We're going to use 4 of them because we have 4 cuts. If you only wanted to do 3 cuts, then you would use 3 squares and shuffle them. But we're going to do 4. And these angles are however you want to cut them, okay? This is just a diagram to show you what it looks like. This diagram is in the PDF that I will post at the end of the live today. So there will be a PDF in the file section. And what are we using? Well, I'm using the Storybook Gnome Designer Series paper. And you get 2 sheets of these big mushroom homes, and you get 2 sheets of the paper that has the little gnomes that you can fussy cut. The rest is, you know, the back sides are snowflakes. Again, that's why I got it. But there's some cute mushrooms. It's a really, really cute pack of paper. So I had posted, since we're making 4 quilt blocks, we're going to make 4 cards. And I gave you the cutting instructions of what you were going to need to complete those 4 cards. I want to show you something with cutting the cardstock. This is a Z-fold. So what we're going to do, these 2 are already done. I already did one because I needed to take some pictures for the PDF. So let's push this back and see if I can get more of the trimmer in view. So take your 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock, put it in your trimmer with the 8.5 inch side at the top, and put the left side of your paper at 4 1/4. This is if you're right-handed. And with the scoring blade, not the cutting blade, score at 4 1/4. Okay? Now, I want you to take it out and just turn it over, put it back in, and put this on 2 1/8. Whoops, my book's getting in the way. 2 1/8, and score again. And then to cut this in half to make 2 cards, I always just take it back out and flip it back over, but you can keep it where it's at. We're going to put the 11 inch side up at the top, and we're going to cut at 5 1/2. So now all your scoring and your cutting has been done at the same time. So let's move that for a moment. I'm going to fold our card in half. Give it a good burnish. And then the side that's got the, right here it is, the 2 1/8 inch score, that is going to fold back on itself. Mine went over just a little bit, so I'm just going to coax it into going back where I wanted it. And there is our Z-fold. This way you're able to get both those steps done without having to go back and really handling your paper more than once. I was probably a little heavy on my line when I scored, so I'm just gonna, what I'm doing is I'm lining up my corners there, and then I'm just gonna force this little hill there down flat and then crease it. Okay, so here we have our card bases out of the way. One more. Oh, y'all get out of my way. Okay. Oh, that one was pretty good. Okay, so the card bases are done. Now what we want to do is we're going to cut our designer series paper. If you've got a good sharp blade and you've got the Stampin' Up! Trimmer, I've been able to cut all 4 pieces at one time. But if that's too much for your trimmer and your blade, then go ahead and do them 1 at a time, 2 at a time, whatever you can handle, okay? If you're doing 4, you are going to have to hold on to the paper, but it can be done. So I have, oops, I already did one. Get those out of the way. I did one for pictures for the PDF. So now I've got 3. And I am going to put them in my trimmer with what would be the 6 inches, or what is the 6 inches across the top. We're going to cut a 2-inch strip off. So the left side of my paper is lined up on the 2-inch ruler on the plate of the trimmer. And we're going to cut. Okay. Just lay your fork with the portion that you had cut off, just put that over to the side for a moment. Take this 2-inch strip and turn it so that the 12-inch side is at the top, and move this over to 5 1/4 and cut. This leftover here, this is leftover, okay? If you do any more cards of this style, you can use these pieces, because all you have to do is cut the rest of it at 5 1/4 and you're ready to go. So just set your scraps aside and set these aside. I'm going to put my other one with it so that I don't get too confused here. Now bring back in what was left over, and it's 4 inches by 12. We're going to turn that, put the 12-inch at the top, and we're going to create the backs for our cards. So we want a 4 by 5 1/4. So move that over to 5 1/4. Cut. These are now the backs to your card base. Okay. Put that pile there. And then we need to make a 3 3/4 inch square. So put this over to 3 3/4. This is leftovers. Rotate your paper because it started out at 4 inches and put it at 3 3/4. And take off that little extra there. So this here is also leftovers. I tried to use everything. I'm going to let your creativity take over, and we'll see what you do, if you do anything with those leftover pieces, okay? So now I have my 4 3 3 excuse me, 3 3/4 inch squares. And now we're going to do some angled cuts. Okay. Again, this the angles are whatever you want to do. So I'm just going to tilt this a little bit and take, and this is where if you're cutting all four, which you really need to do so that they all fit back together the same way, you can do it. If 4 is too many, then take 1 out and just cut 3 and do 3 cards, and do that way all those pieces will match up, and then you can cut that 1 extra, cut that up alone, and those pieces will line up for you, okay? But I'm going to do all 4. I'm holding everything down really nice and tight. So there's 1 cut, and I'm just going to move this out of the way. And then I'm going to turn it the opposite direction. And I've found that starting at the top and cutting down works better. Move that out of the way. And then 1 last cut. Holding everything down. Okay, so here I have my 4 pieces. Okay? Make sure we're in camera really nice. Let me so. Okay, I'm sorry. I was just checking comments for a second. Now we want to shuffle these pieces. What I love about being able to do this pattern with paper is if you were doing this with fabric, you're lining up these seams, sewing that 1/4 inch seam allowance, pressing, excuse me, and everything else. But with paper, we eliminate a 1/4 inch seam allowance in lining up everything, and we can just put them all back together really easy. We're going to leave this first pile alone. The second pile, we're going to move the top piece and we're going to shuffle it to the back. I love these kind of cards where you shuffle the pieces and then put them back together. I just love it. This one here, we're going to shuffle once, we're going to shuffle twice. This one, we're going to shuffle 1, 2, 3. So what you should have right now is a sample of all 4 pieces of your designer series paper. Okay? So I'm just going to take these off of the trimmer in the right order and set them to the side, because now we need to start gluing our quilt blocks back together. Stampin' Up! Grid paper, perfect for this. You've got enough room on this sheet to put all 4 down. I'm going to use a piece of grid paper from a paper pack that I purchased at the store. I like to hoard my Stampin' Up! Grid paper. It's perfect, but I love to hoard it. So what we're going to do, let's get in camera here, because I'm going to start here at the bottom and then put my other 4 blocks at the top. But I'm going to take this first piece, and we're going to do the 1. You'll see the gist of it, and then you can go back and do your other ones. If we try to do all 4, then that's just going to take more time. But what I'm doing is I'm just putting some liquid glue on the back, and then I'm going to come over as far as I can on my grid paper so that I have room for 2 blocks. So I'm going to come right over here, and the reason why I love grid paper is the lines help keep me straight, because I can be very wonky. So I need something with lines to help keep me straight. So now I'm going to take the second piece and I'm going to flip it over. Put some liquid glue. And I'm going to put this right back next to the piece we already did. And because I cut all my pieces at the same time, they all have the same angle and they should butt right up to each other really nicely. Had some glue seep through. So I got that off. And then you're going to just repeat that until you've used all 4 pieces. This designer series paper has such pretty sides to it that are not storybook. Nice scenery, beautiful snowflakes. And like I said, it's available. So if you like this paper, then you might want to get it, because maybe some people will say, well, since I can't get the dies and the stamps, I'll just go ahead and get the paper because I can fussy cut the gnomes and the houses out. And then this is our last piece. And if you shop with me in my store, if you would use the host code that you'll be able to see on my Stampin' Up! Grid paper here, I would appreciate it. I like to use the rewards that I earn to send you a little something back when the month is over as a thank you. So here we've got our 4 angles. Okay, you would repeat this process with the rest of your strips that you have. I'm going to move mine out of the way, keeping them in the same order so that I can go back later and finish these. And then what you're going to do is you're going to cut this square off of the paper. So I'm just going to line up the edge of my cardstock in my track, cut it off, and then get 2 sides off and then start squaring it up. That'll go there so I can put the other, and it should finish at 3 3/4 of an inch. If you're a little bit shy, just make sure that you have a square. You'll just need to go around to another side and maybe take a little bit off. Just make sure that you have a nice square. Okay, so there is our quilt block. Now if you want, you can run this through an embossing folder like I showed you I did with the snowflakes. I'm going to leave this as is. And I love how the colors contrast really well. So I'm going to set that aside. And now what we're going to do is we need to cut our fronts and our inserts. So with the 2 pieces, the 2 8.5 by 11 sheets of cardstock of the basic white, I need 8 4 by 5 1/4. The basic white cardstock that is not the thick, you can cut 2 at a time. So I'm just going to put them in a 4. And then 5 1/4. Five 1/4. That is scrap. And do it one more time at 4. And 5 1/4 twice. That way we have all of the card inserts and the card fronts for our 4 cards. Excuse me. I have got a tickle in my throat today. Now, so 4 of these go on the inside of your card. You can stamp them if you want. What I did with my gnomes is I just put some snowflakes in the 2 corners. So we'll do one of those for you, and then I'll remember to do the other 3. My snowflakes are photopolymer. They're actually from the Penguin stamp set. So I've got a cushioned mat underneath me. Okay, so I stamped the inside. And what I can do is I can glue that down. I think I'm going to have to open up a new bottle of liquid glue. This is my favorite. This is my glue of choice. I like the liquid glue. I don't own the, I don't know if it's still called fast fuse. I'm not even sure what the tape runners are called anymore because I've never used them. Just going to put this on the inside, leaving that nice little border all the way around. I'm going to flip it over, and I am going to take, I'll just take what's on top here. I like my 2-inch strip and my backing to match, but you don't have to do that. You can mix it up any way you want. They're your cards. It's your style. And I'm going to put my quilt back, my backing right here. I am one of those that I think the back of my card should be as pretty as my front. Okay, so there's that. And then we're going to bring in the other piece of white. This is our card. This is going to be our card front. Okay, you're gonna position it to cover your insert, and then when you open it, this creates that Z fold. Okay, so this is the front, and we're gonna go ahead, and what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna set my quilt block on there, nice border all the way around it. And then I am going to stamp I'm going to do hello in Poppy Parade. Uh-oh. I just secured myself to the ink pad. Okay, so I'm going to do hello. And stamping on camera is not my thing. So I'm going to bring it down to me. And what I'm looking for is kind of in the middle of what space I have left there. Let me get situated again. And the label on my stamp is crooked, so I need to go with the outline of the red rubber to know if I'm straight. So there's my little greeting. And I really need to get this ink pad away from me before I wear it. So now I'm going to glue my quilt block up here at the top. Okay. So we got our quilt block. A little fuzzy there. Got that off of there. And now what I want to do is I am going to flip this over. And this 2" by 5 1/4 inch strip of Designer Series paper, I'm going to glue down on this left side. And the reason why I did this is because without it, I didn't like when I opened the card up, I saw just this blank space of white. So I thought, let's cover that up. So I'm just going to lay that down on here. It's going to go all the way to the sides of the card front. And I'll show you what I mean. I'm going to have to trim off a little bit up there at the top. When you open this, now when you open it up, instead of this being stark white, it's pattern paper, okay? And I need to trim off a little bit. Oh, this is going to be fun since I'm right-handed. And it's so, there we go. I think I can get it. If not, the little guillotine trimmer is going to have to come out. There we go. I think I got it. Just need to undercut it. There we go. Looks good to me. Okay. So now this is what the back side looks like. Now I can put some liquid glue over on this side. I'm going to close my card. I am going to position this so that I am covering the insert. I still have that nice little border. Then I can press this down. This is the side with the glue. I'm going to open it up and make sure no glue seeped out right here. So now we have created our card. You could decorate this strip right here. In fact, those pieces that were left over, I don't know why I just thought of this. These pieces left over, you could put another piece in there. That way you're using up your scraps. Okay, that looks really pretty. I do not know why I did not think about that when I was constructing the card, but good use of those leftovers to put it right there. Okay, so now all we got to do is decorate the front. The reason why I like this layout and this stack and whack kind of is that you can use it with any paper. So this could be a Christmas card, a birthday card. It's an all occasion card layout. Any Designer Series paper will work with this design. What I did was I fussy cutted some gnomes and some houses. And what I'm going to do is right now I'm just going to position where I want my gnome home. And I want a gnome with a contrasting color. If I'm using Poppy Parade here for the gnome, I want something else. I like that. I like how those colors all pop off of each other. So you just got to pick one. But I think I'm going to, I was going to use Pacific Point, but then he blends in too much with that paper. So now I'm back to something with mint macaron. that one. That one. If I use this one, I can use my other dots. So we'll go with this. So right now, I've got them on there, but do you see how they kind of just look like they're going to be floating on the paper? I want to like anchor them down. So what I did was I took a scrap piece of cardstock. What'd I do with it? And I'm going to take, I have an oval punch. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create like an oblong. This is going to get covered up, but all I want to do is be able to put this down on here. I want it a little close to the bottom. And then with my Stampin' Blends, I'm just going to color this in. This is just a way to help them have a landing. So this is like just mimicking the cold ground. I'm going to go over it just another time, give it kind of a shaded area. You could have just colored in an oval, but I wasn't very good at that. And so now I can put my home there. It helps anchor it so it doesn't look like it's floating in space. And I can set my little gnome in there also. Now the home, I'm just going to put it down with the glue. The gnome, I'm going to pop up with dimensionals. So I want to see some of that oval there. Make sure everything's straight. And then for my Gnomey, I am going to put some dimensionals on the back. We're just going to pop them up. That way, it gives, you know, the illusion that he is really standing in front of his home and he hasn't, like, isn't a wallflower and blended into it. So then I'm just going to put the little gnome right here. And then what I did was I took Wink Stella and I just came in the window here. Looked like there's some snow on the window. Snow's gathered here on the mushroom roof. Anywhere there was some shadowing, I just gave it some sparkle. Around the door. His eyebrows. His beard. Just give it some glistening effect. Maybe highlight his little shoes. We're just going to give it some sparkle. So anywhere where there's some shading, I'm going to add some Wink Stella. And you can do as much or as little of this as you want. But it just gives it some ice effect, just some shimmer. Okay, so I used Wink Stella there. And then the last thing to do is put some of the fine sparkle, whoops, I got some falling off, these blue ones I took off of a card that I did that I didn't like, so I'll have to reapply those with a glue dot. But these fine sparkled gems, the colors coordinate with the Storybook Gnome Designer Series paper. And I'm just going to put 3 of them in there. And I think I'm going to go with the pale papaya, just to bring in another color. And we'll just put that there. Maybe put a little dot there and then one more dot. And I'm going to call it done. So maybe we'll put this one up there. So just 3 little shimmer dots. And now my gnome card is done. The only thing I need to do is to put a button on the back. So there's that one. And look at the difference. Now here on this one, I chose a different paper. It didn't give me a lot of contrast. But look how different it looks by changing out just one of the papers. Oh, good, Marilyn. I'm glad that you think it's cute. Sharon, yes, your square, you start out with a 3 3/4 inch square that you cut the angles from. So it should go back together as a 3 3/4 inch square. Oh, thanks, Lori. You know what, Nancy, though? The shapes are big enough for fussy cutting that it actually was fun. Hi, Debbie. Stamp and Seal Plus. That's it, Marilyn. I've never used it. So I wasn't sure what it was called. Hi, Patty. Okay, so Patty, yeah, your boss does this with quilt blocks. Stacks 6 layers, cuts all the pieces. Yep. You know, there's so many techniques in quilting that carry over right into card making. The blessing is we don't have to worry about seam allowances and making, you know, like working in the fabric, if you know what I mean, when you're putting long strips together and, you know, you got the bias going on or whatever, so you're trying to get it in and make it work so your points and intersections all line up. That's the beauty of doing quilt cards, is we don't have to worry about that. Although when I sew, I do love the challenge of making sure that when I start putting all those squares together, everything's lining up. And I don't find myself having to work in fabric or give it a little bit of stretch because it was just a little too short. I do miss that challenge. Okay, so, I just wanted to make sure that I didn't miss any questions or comments. So there's the cards. And again, I'll go back and I'll finish the 3 other cards that I have left to do. But this one here says, "Aw, you really are the best." That is from the Hippo Celebration stamp set. But you can put any greeting on here. This could say Happy New Year. It could still be a Christmas card. It's whatever you want them to be. Now I'd like to show you the set I did with the Designer Series paper from the Hostess selection. And the flowers are from Color and Contour stamp set, which is in the annual catalog. And then I used the dies to cut the flowers out. This is the Stitched Greenery die that I used for the quilting. Blackberry Bliss is like the best color on the whole earth. And so it gave me a chance to get out the Blackberry Bliss cardstock. And I did a little bit of stamping on the inside. Again, my inside here and my backings match. Now I can go back in and put in another strip of Designer Series paper, and that will really finish this off beautifully. but, and put my button on the back, which is something I still have to do with the gnomes. Here I had 2 yellow flowers left over, so they look just like my black-eyed Susans that are out in the garden. But can you see how by shuffling the pieces, each card is unique? The colors fall in different places. And then this one here, I dry embossed with the, flower something, it escapes me. This is a current embossing folder in the annual catalog. But here it just gives that raised, lofty look of quilting versus this still looks machine quilted, but it's just flatter. Okay? So just how different this layout can look depending on the papers that you're using. And these are still, to me, fall colors. These flowers can still be used for the fall. And then you have the cute funness of the gnomes. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the card. And I hope, hi Eileen. I hope that you try this pattern and then share your cards in the community group, which is called Quilt Cards and More. And you can get to that group from the Chirpy Cardmaker page. You just look at the top for the tab that says groups, click on it, then click on Quilt Cards and More, request to join, and I get you in. And it's on that group, it's in that group that you actually have a file tab where we can load PDFs. I want to thank Doris. Doris shared with us a PDF. Oh, I didn't even show you show and tell yet. Doris shared with us a PDF of an insert you can put in your card so that if that person wants to send it and then give the recipient a chance if they want to resend it, it's a beautiful PDF. So thank Doris for that. We got show and tell. Oh my gosh. Okay, Marilyn from Hawaii sent me a package. This was I knew it was coming, but I couldn't have anticipated what was in the package. So she sent me just a little note. Remember when we did this design probably, a year ago? And then look at these cards done with the birds. Look at these. For those who are new to watching me, I am a birder. I love to go birding. I love birds. Look at these beautiful cards. And then in the package, check out these paper clips. They're like little chirpy doodles. Check out these paper clips. Are those not the cutest things that you've ever seen? Little chirpy doodle paper clips. They are so cute. And then she sent me this beautiful stack of papers. Is this from the boho collection? Does anyone know? I missed out on the boho collection. And if this is, then she heard me say that and sent me some samples. Is it not beautiful? I missed out on the boho designer series paper. That's also from a year ago? Okay, and then my other surprise in the mail, this came from Vesta. And this is a card that she had. I love this layout. But this is a thank you card that she sent me. Love the fold. Love this. Love everything about this card. She signed the back for me, but it's what was tucked inside. Look, these are the the bird sun catcher stickers. She's had them on cards that she has sent to me, and it looks like stained glass. But I'll tell ya, these two packages came within a day of each other, and I just felt so blessed. So thank you, Vesta. Thank you, Marilyn, so much. These are just adorable. Next week, I will be doing my live in the evening because I am attending a traveling quilt show that's being held at my friend's church. And a few of us are getting together. We're doing a lunch and learn and then viewing the quilt show in the morning. So the live will be at 8:30 p.m. next week. Okay? I'll post an update the closer it gets to that. So everybody have a blessed day. Thank you so much for spending an hour with me this morning. I cannot wait to see what you create with this layout. As soon as I sign off, I'm going to load the PDF, and then you can get going on your project. Have a blessed day, and I will talk to everybody later.